How is it going, guys? Welcome back to another video and thanks for tuning in. Today we are going to be talking about the AuxBeam 5-inch V Ultra lights. I'm going to show you the process of mounting these on my truck, creating a fully custom wiring harness, and then at the end I'll test these lights out at night and give you some of my thoughts. Before we get started, I just want to give a big thanks to AuxBeam for sending these lights over for me to test out. If you are interested in any AuxBeam products, off-road lights, headlights, taillights, switch panels, you can use the code MaxwellPeters for 15% off your AuxBeam order. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with today's video. AuxBeam sent me 4 of their V Ultra 5-inch lights, and today the first thing we are going to do is just go ahead and open these up and see what's included. Alrighty. Oh, that's nice. First thing you see here is just this little message from AuxBeam that says you are important. I love that they chose to include that. Opening up the box further, let's see what we got here. We got a little instruction manual. We'll put that to the side for now. We got a nice big AuxBeam sticker. And then here we have the lights. So I have 4 lights in total. 2 of them are amber and 2 of them are white. Let's see which ones these are. We also have these AuxBeam protective covers. Okay, so these are the amber lights. These look awesome. I'm very excited to see how these look on the truck. Overall, they're pretty similar in size to the Harbor Freight lights. And immediate thoughts. Build quality, again, feels very nice. It's some type of metal with kind of a gloss black finish. So overall, these look great, and I'm excited to see how they look on the truck. Now, one big difference between these lights and the Harbor Freight lights is that this kit actually comes with a full wiring harness if you need it. Now, for me personally, I am going to be using the AuxBeam switch panel that I had previously installed. There's a video on my channel if you're curious about that. But if you don't have your own switch panel, or you're simply just not interested in creating a fully custom wiring harness, I love that AuxBeam gives you a ready-to-go, easy option with this whole wiring harness. So that is nice. This is a difference between the Harbor Freight lights. You don't get any wiring harness included when you purchase those Harbor Freight lights. Now, additionally, we have a bunch of hardware with a Allen key as well, and then just 2 of the light mounting brackets. So that's everything you get in the box. Let's go ahead and mount these to the truck. So everything that we're going to need to install the light mounting bracket I have in my hand here. First of all, we just have this big hex bolt. Hopefully that focuses. That's just going to drop straight through. We have a locking washer. Unlike the Harbor Freight lights, we don't get a nylon locking nut, but we do have this locking washer, which is going to do the same thing. I need a third hand to do this. After that, we are going to put the locking washer. And then we're going to hold this all in place with the threading nut. I can't say I noticed much difference in the mounting brackets compared to the Harbor Freights. These ones do have a gloss black finish, whereas the Harbor Freights I think were more of a matte color. But other than that, they just feel like nice quality metal brackets. I went ahead and attached all 4 of the light brackets. The next step is going to be actually mounting the lights. There is a little AuxBeam logo on the top of the light. That's how you know which way you want to mount it, but it also does look like you can mount it either direction. So if for some reason you wanted to mount it this way, you could do that as well, but I'm going to mount it with the AuxBeam on top. Because these are Allen bolts, you also do get a provided Allen key in the kit, which is honestly pretty nice because I always seem to be losing these things. mounted down up here. They look awesome on the truck, the exact style I was going for. They're very similar in size to the Harbor Freights. I was trying to show you guys a clip here comparing them. And the next step is to just start doing the wiring. Now, like I was saying earlier when I was opening up the light, when you purchase these lights as a pair, you also get an included pre-wired wiring harness, meaning that you could just plug these in, connect it to your battery, run this little on-off switch through the firewall to the inside, and you'd be good to go. So if you're not interested in doing any wiring yourself, this is a great option that makes it really easy to get these lights up and running. Now, for me personally, I recently installed an AuxBeam switch panel on the inside of my Sequoia, and I want to use that. So what I am going to do here is connect the end of the pigtails that come off of the lights together. And then what I'll do is we have 3 wires here. We have a positive, a negative, and a yellow, which is going to be our running light. I am just going to cut this, and we are going to make our own custom wiring harness. Now, the reason for this is because I want to use the AuxBeam switch panel, and I want to wire 2 lights together. So ignore these 2 kind of pigtails coming off of the 2 white lights. I'm just going to start with the 2 outside yellow lights, and what I've done is connected the other end of the pigtail from the custom wiring harness. And what we're going to do is just run that over kind of here to one area, and then I'm going to cut these pigtails. And what we're going to do is we're going to solder the positives together and solder the ground together as well. So we're basically connecting the 2 outside lights here, and then we're just going to run them up to the AuxBeam switch panel. So as you guys can see, when we cut that wire there, we have 3 wires underneath. We have a positive, which is the red, a ground, which is the black, and then the yellow, which is the running light. So basically what we're going to focus on first is joining the 2 red and black wires together. That way, when we flip the switch on our AuxBeam panel, both of these lights will come on at the same time. And I'm going to take the other wiring harness here. This is the wiring harness for the 2 white lights. And we're going to do the exact same thing. I am just going to plug in this harness and run both of these wires to right up here, right kind of in front of the headlight. And then from there, we are going to do the exact same thing as we're doing with the yellow lights. Just connect the positives and the grounds together. That way, again, when I flip the switch on the AuxBeam switch panel, both of these lights will come on together. With the running lights, the plan is to join all 4 of them together. To get started here, we're just going to take our wiring harness. Doesn't matter which connector goes to where. They both plug in. We're just going to connect them to the 2 white lights and just run these just kind of to the same area, just so all the wires are the same distance for when we join them together. So right now, all 4 of our wires are the exact same distance. They all come to the same area, and the next step is just to start joining them together. Alright, we're almost done now. The last thing I'm doing here is taking these wire terminal connectors, and they're going to be a little hard to see, but they're just these loops, and I'm just expanding them open because they don't fit over the 12 gauge. So just opening it up a little bit, sliding it over. Oop, I forgot. I'm also adding heat shrink as well, just to make it look nice. So putting heat shrink over the wire, then crimping it down to the terminal end, and then heat shrinking it. everything is connected, and the next step here is to just make sure everything works. We're going to start with the running lights and then test both the outside lights, which are again connected together, and then the white lights, which are connected together as well. Alright, well I just finished up. All of the lights work, the running lights work. I've just had them on for a little bit because I'm curious to see if any of the wiring gets warm, but so far it seems like it's all doing just fine. Pretty much did the exact same thing as I did with the Harbor Freight lights in terms of how I wired them up. Just the 2 yellows on the outside connected and then the 2 whites connected. I had my friend Dylan help to just hold some of the wires together, which made the whole soldering process so much easier. Pretty much all wrapped up for tonight. Just wanted to get these all together, but just like I did with the Harbor Freight lights, I will take these out a little bit later and do some tests at night and see how they perform, and I'll be really curious to compare them to the Harbor Freights. One more thing too, I just want to show you guys on the inside here. This is the AuxBeam switch panel that I installed. So this turns them on and off. And then this middle button here are the daytime running lights. And I'm going to show you guys these because they look super awesome as well. Those are the daytime running lights. They just look like that. So anytime I'm driving at night or just during the day, whenever, I can turn these on. They're not super bright, so they're not going to blind people, and they just look really cool on the truck. So I love the look of these. I think they look awesome. I am back. It's the next day. I apologize. I kind of rushed everything last night because my roommate and I were trying to get out to a concert. So we got everything wired up and everything works. All of the lights work. Both the daytime running lights, the yellow, amber, or the outside lights, and then the 2 kind of middle white lights as well. The next step for today is just to clean everything up and make the wiring harness look a little bit nicer. Overall, the wiring harness is already in a much better place than it was when I was doing the Harbor Freight lights, and the reason for that is I bought some 3-strand 12-gauge wire, so it's all joined together already, and that just makes it a lot cleaner. So I'm just going to clean it up a little bit today and get this project wrapped up. So this is the 3-strand wire that I was talking about. I highly recommend this. This made it so much easier doing kind of basically the same wiring harness the second time. So there are just 3 wires and they're all joined together. It just makes it way easier to keep everything organized. So what we did is we have a positive and a negative for the 2 yellow lights. Then we have a positive and negative, the black and the white, for the 2 white lights, and then all of the running lights are joined together on this 1 blue wire. So hopefully you guys can see this here. This is the wiring harness now. I just kind of cleaned it up a little bit and made it look nicer just with this wire loom. If you watched the video I did where I mounted and tested some Harbor Freight lights and made a wiring harness for those lights, you'll notice that this looks very similar. I just wanted to make it look nice, so that's what we did. Everything seems to be working, so I'm just going to throw a couple zip ties on here just to hold the harness in place, and we'll be all done. And the next part of this video will be testing these lights out at night. So I'm going to take these out later and I'll show you guys clips of how these perform at night. And I'm really excited to test them out and kind of compare them to the Harbor Freight lights because they are very similar in price. And yeah, I'm just excited to see the difference between these two. So before we wrap up today's video, I want to talk a little bit more about the lights and give you guys my opinion about them. If you followed my channel for a little while, you may have seen that I also did a video on the Harbor Freight Road Shock Edge lights, which are a very similar light. They're a very similar price, and I want to talk a little bit about the AuxBeams and my opinion of them versus the Harbor Freights. While AuxBeam did send me these lights to test out and review, I also want to make it clear that they are not paying me to say nice things about these lights. These are my honest opinions. While the Harbor Freights are very bright, they are kind of spotty and kind of directional. They're a lot more of a spotlight instead of a flood, and the light output just isn't as smooth as the AuxBeams. Additionally, I do think the AuxBeams are just a tiny bit brighter. They are very similar, but I do think the AuxBeams are brighter, especially on objects that are farther away. One of the big differences though is the AuxBeams do come with a wiring harness so that you can set these lights up and you're ready to go right away. Realistically, either of these lights are going to be great budget options, and I'm pretty impressed with both of them. If I had to make a decision between the Harbor Freights and the AuxBeams, I would go with the AuxBeams. They're just a little bit brighter and the light output looks a little bit nicer in my opinion. Again, I just want to give a big thanks to AuxBeam for sending these lights over for me to test out and review. I'm super happy with them and have no plans of taking them off my truck anytime soon. Don't forget, you can use the code MaxwellPeters for 15% off your AuxBeam order. If you guys have any comments or questions, please feel free to reach out. You can drop a comment in the comment section below or send me a message on Instagram, and I'll try and get back to you as quickly as I can. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.